On this motion, the yeas are 50, the nays are 48. The concurrent motion is agreed to.
The United States Senate has rebuked Donald Trump. The War Powers Resolution, a concurrent resolution that previously passed the House of Representatives, has now passed in the United States Senate. It was on a fairly bipartisan basis as well. You had Republican Senators Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul. They joined forces with Democrats to pass this War Powers Resolution 50-48. Mitch McConnell, who's had major health issues, was not there. David McCormick also missed the vote as well. I believe he was at an event with Trump in Pennsylvania. This allowed the War Powers Resolution to pass in the United States Senate. And basically what it says is that Donald Trump is not permitted to restart this unlawful and catastrophic war in Iran without the approval of Congress. Now, this is called a concurrent resolution. It can't be vetoed. The Trump regime's view of it is that it does not have a binding effect. It would have to ultimately be litigated in court and would probably ultimately go to the United States Supreme Court. Let's hope that we don't go back to war, as obviously a surrender document that this MOU is. I think we all still want it to work. We do not want to go back to war. Trump being brought into this war with Netanyahu, this unlawful and catastrophic war, has caused global economic harm at a seismic scale. And we do not want to go back and then have to deal with the tens of thousands or potential hundreds of thousands of casualties of American service members that would likely occur if that took place, and more significant, detrimental, catastrophic impact to our economy. I want to hear from some of these Republican senators about their views regarding the MOU, the vote that just occurred. Senator Tillis, Senator Round spoke to Manu Raju about it. Here is what they said about the MOU, about Donald Trump's dealings with Iran. These are Republican senators, Tillis and Rounds. Let's play it.
Yeah, I mean, my gosh, we're back to pre-JCPOA relief on oil sanctions. And so I'm just saying, maybe the president's just got more of a trusting vibe with these folks. I think they're stringing them along. Look, if all we do is get back to the JCPOA, that would be an absolute catastrophe, in my opinion. In terms of the investment that we've made, I expect a much higher return than just getting back to where we were with different language.
A lot of us have expressed concern that if we take sanctions off of them with regard to simply bringing them to the negotiating table, that puts us at a disadvantage long term.
Then Senator Tillis came back out to speak with Manu Raju, and he said that Bill Pulte, who Donald Trump appointed to be the acting director of national intelligence, despite having no intelligence background and not even being able to previously get a security clearance. Tillis, this Republican senator, says, I believe what we're seeing with Bill Pulte is a hot, steamy pile of doze shit. I think he's an incompetent sycophant and not the right person to lead the DNI. Let's watch what he says.
A reduction in force, the way that I've been engaged to do it before, where you do the analysis, you make sure you retain the most capable people, and you only eliminate the people whose jobs can be either automated or never should have been there. Good. My guess is, based on his past experience, it's just going to be another hot, steamy pile of doze shit. I think he's incompetent, sycophant, and not the right person to lead DNI.
More from Tillis right here. Also talking about Donald Trump trying to push this Save America Act that the Trump regime is calling it to suppress votes. Republican Senator Tillis from North Carolina says, I'm not for this. Here's what he has to say.
I think implementing standards, actually appropriating money for election audits makes sense to me, but this is a waste of time. It's a distraction, and it's not going to happen in this Congress. He's just got to understand some of the limits we have here in the Senate. Talking's good, Save Act's a waste of time.
By the way, we try to catch up with MAGA Mike Johnson, as did Manu Raju right here. MAGA Mike ran away like he normally does from the press. and he was asked a pretty basic question about this MOU. And, look, you previously said, MAGA Mike, that Iran should never have sanctions removed. They should never have been able to, sell their oil on the open market. Now they can sell it for U.S. dollars. What do you make of all this, MAGA Mike? Watch as MAGA Mike runs away. Play this clip.
Mr. Speaker, on the Iran MOU, you are very critical of sanctions relief under the JCPOA. They're easing oil sanctions here, and other sanctions will be eased. Do you have similar concerns here?
Look, there's a lot of moving parts right now. It is something the Trump administration is working around the clock on. I trust that they're going to come to a lasting solution on that. The world desperately needs it, and we do as well. I am heartened to see that gas prices are coming down for the American consumer, and the strait is reopened. We need to keep forward with good progress. The details are still being negotiated. So
what about easing sanctions? They've already announced that with oil sanctions.
I have always been a supporter of strong sanctions against Iran. There's a lot of moving parts to this, and I got enough to do to manage the House over here. I'm not going to tell the administration how to negotiate that.
But you were told the Obama administration.
We then heard from MAGA Republican Congress member McCormick. MeidasTouch Network said to him, what do you make of Donald Trump's view that Iran can be trusted and the MOU and the unfreezing of the sanctions on Iran? What's your view, Congressmember McCormick? Because you seem to attack former President Obama all the time for the JCPOA, and this seems like a weaker version of the JCPOA. So what do you make of it? Let's play this clip.
Iran and do you agree with JD in that they have a right of self-defense?
I don't really track what the vice president says. I have my own opinion.
Okay.
I've been 20 years in the military. I served overseas in the Persian Gulf a couple tours. I'm a Marine by nature. I'll tell you what I'm not going to have is a Tehran regime that's pursuing ballistic missiles, pursuing nuclear arms, that says they're going to rain down fire from above on the United States. It's attacked us 40 times through proxy. Terrorist organizations killed 1,000 people. I don't really care what they choose to do. I know what we should do.
So do you disagree with the president when he said it's a little bit unfair for
I'm not
Iran
worried
to have
about what the president says, what the vice
missiles?
president's going to say. What I have is my own opinion because I have very strong feelings about that Tehran regime, which I do not trust, and I would love to see eliminated. That's my opinion, nobody else's.
So different than the president?
It's my opinion, and like I said, I stick by my experiences and my opinion.
Now, one of the things that we're also seeing take place is on Capitol Hill, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, is now asking for $80 billion urgently needed to the Defense Department in order to pay bills associated with the catastrophic war in Iran. Now, the Defense Department officials, Hegseth and others, they testified that the war only cost $29 billion, which we knew was a lie at the time. Now they need $80 billion or else they're not able to pay their contractors. Everything Hegseth touches, just like Donald Trump, goes bankrupt. So we caught up with Republican Congressmember Bacon from Nebraska, and we said, what do you think about Hegseth demanding this money? Here's what he had to say. Play this clip.
Any reaction
So
to
who
this?
are you with?
MeidasTouch.
Oh, MeidasTouch.
Yeah.
I don't know who's that with.
MeidasTouch is, how would you say, they're the biggest
YouTube viewers somehow, some way, Congressman.
Yeah.
Your military background and your district the way it is, what do you make of them asking maybe for more money for Iran? $80 billion
I think we need it because we've spent all these weapons, whether it's cruise missiles, the air to ground, all the munitions that we expended, they need to be replaced. So I think it's needed.
Do you have a concern about the munitions level? They may be depleted.
Yeah, that's why we need to replenish it. Hey, how are we doing there, Brett? Hey.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, answer your question. Yes, I'm concerned. That's why we got to replace it.
Thank you.
Do you think, sorry, one more question on it, right? Do you think that the United States relationship with Israel can have a reset while Netanyahu is still Prime Minister?
I'm for having a close relationship with Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East.
For sure. But is he a good faith partner at this point?
I think he is.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we tried to ask some questions of MAGA Republican Congress member Mike Flood from Nebraska. He ran away from us like the coward that he is. Play this clip.
Congressman, what do you make of this reflecting pool controversy? Are you excited about the 250th anniversary of America? Do you prefer Godfather 1 or Godfather 2? Nothing? Oh, Congressman.
Then we tried to ask questions of Republican Congress member Adam Smith, one of the top Republicans in Congress, big MAGA guy. And he was like, who are you? Who are you with? Who are you with? Play this clip.
Mr. Chairman, any reaction to this reflecting pool controversy?
I think there's much bigger and more important things to worry about.
For example?
Affordability for my constituents who are struggling from the consequences of a Biden administration.
And what's the caucus doing this? What are Republicans doing this week for affordability?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Who are you with?
MeidasTouch.
What is that?
MeidasTouch.
I don't know what that is.
MeidasTouch. We're pretty famous.
Pretty famous?
Yeah.
How are you, sir? Doing well? Good.
No, it's just like, with what's going on the affordability policy this week. It's a good faith question.
What's going on in the affordability
process? What are you doing for affordability
Well,
for
the
Americans?
Ways and Means Committee, we're looking at ways to bring down taxes on working families.
Anything in particular, though? Any policies?
Then we heard from Republican Congress member Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania. And he spoke out when we interviewed him against the Qatari jet that Donald Trump now flies around in. Trump flying around in a Qatari Air Force One. Make America great again, Qatari Air Force One. Let's play this clip right here.
So, Congressman, what do you make of this Bill Pulte firing all these seasoned intelligence officials at DNI?
How's it going? Yeah, well, my position on Bill Pulte has been pretty clear. He's not qualified to be DNI director. I was disappointed to see Clayton's nomination. I don't know if they pulled it or if they're suspending it, but this is a guy that had bipartisan support. Jim Himes, who is the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee, which I sit on, have positive things to say about him. I mean, that's the kind of person that we should want, right? Pulte is very controversial for a lot of reasons. He has no national security experience. It's actually a requirement in the statute that they have national security experience, and he doesn't have any.
And speaking of experience, Speaking of experience, what do you make of this guy that Trump hired to do the reflecting pool? That seems to be turning into a big.
That's why this stuff's got to come to Congress. That's how you prevent that stuff from happening.
And on Congress, is there anything that Congress can do or should do to prevent Trump from leaving office with this Qatari jet, sort of like a gift?
Shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Should Congress articulate that specifically?
Sure.
Do we know for sure that he can't take it?
I mean, all this stuff is just so unprecedented. Part of the problem is, I don't think a lot of people ever envisioned something like this. Right. So I think there's a lot to unpack, How do we resolve it? Is it allowed to happen in the first place? It's question number one, right? Can a foreign government give a gift like that? How is it structured? Is it a gift? Are they loaning it to him? Has it been secured? Right? I mean,
is it our gift, like to the taxpayer, like to the American people, or is it a personal gift?
I think that's exactly what we got to unpack and get to the bottom of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is from a foreign government.
Right. 100%.
There's all kinds of security issues embedded in that.
And I guess that last question on just security, what do you make of this sort of frayed relationship that the Israeli government is having with the United States government right now?
Yeah. Well, it's a problem. I mean, I think that they need to get on the same page, and I think it's really, really important. We can stop here.
Okay.
I think it's really important that any country that has a relationship with the United States, there's got to be give and take. Anytime a country goes to war, whether that's us with Iran, whether that's Israel, you have to win public support. In your country and across the world, you have to sell your case. FDR had the fireside chats. He took the American people with him on that journey. He told them why it was important, what the consequences were of not acting. Leaders need to do that, and they haven't done a very good job as of late.
And do you think that a reset is possible under the Netanyahu government, or does it have to be like a regime change?
That's a question for the people of Israel. I think we got to do what's in our best interest here in the United States and with our partners, and try to see the world through the other person's eyes. There's a lot of history in a lot of these foreign conflicts, and you got to try to see the world through everybody's eyes and hear them out, bring everyone to the table.
Okay, thank you, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Now, you also had Democratic Senator Chris Murphy moments ago take the floor of the Senate talking about the 500 days of Trump's utter corruption. Let's play this clip.
This moment is exceptional. It is a one-of-one moment. And if it becomes normal, if people stop being outraged at what he is doing to enrich himself, then I fear there is no going back. The White House will just become a place to get rich. So I think it's time to pull back and see the full picture. To not view this as just one isolated scandal after another, every single one popping up each week or every few days, but to understand the full scope of this illegality. Last year, I came to the floor to document the first 100 days of Donald Trump's mind-blowing corruption. Since then, especially in 2026, the pace of his misconduct has quickened dramatically. And so I'm here on the floor today, and I'm going to spend more than a few minutes doing this, laying out what has happened since I gave that last speech. This is the story of 500 days of corruption.
By the way, speaking of the 500 days of Trump's utter corruption, we just learned that Jared Kushner, great report from the New York Times before, that Jared Kushner will now be raising an additional $5 billion from Middle East countries who he's seeking this money from while he's there in the Middle East, pretending to be an envoy on behalf of the United States regarding Trump's catastrophic and unlawful war in Iran. He's now seeking $5 billion. Back in 2024, he said that he would not be seeking any additional funds for his private equity company if Trump were to take office. And of course, he lies because the Trump regime lies about everything. Speaking of the Senate, this is Senator Ossoff right here. Let's play it.
And with great awe at the honor and responsibility of representing you, I would this morning briefly touch upon the moral and political crisis that afflicts our nation today. We see a faithless president, self-dealing, while he depicts himself as Christ, while he depicts the Obamas as apes. Did you see that? While he plunges the nation recklessly into war, plunders our health care, and sends prices soaring. And while the people pay more than ever for groceries and housing and health care, he builds a monument to himself. While a cancer patient loses health coverage, he adorns his office in gold. Have you seen it? Voting rights laws are dismantled. Prisons for immigrants are full of children. And all the while, we see this wickedness advanced and defended by those who wrap themselves in the banner of righteous faith. But we ask, where in Scripture are we commanded to deny care to the sick? To take from those with the least, to give to those with the most? To violate the house of worship, to hunt down the refugee?
We also caught up briefly with Democratic Congress member Walkinshaw. Here's what he had to say about Hegseth requesting billions of dollars. Let's play it.
The taxpayers.
And do you think, do you trust Pete Hegseth for another $30 billion for the Pentagon after he spent all this money on this Iranian war that hasn't gone well for the United States?
I wouldn't trust Pete Hegseth with a dollar. I've seen him in classified briefings. Guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's a TV personality. He's not a Secretary of Defense. Totally unqualified, totally incompetent, totally not up to the job.
And then here's what he had to say, what Congress member Walkinshaw had to say about the reflecting pool and who Trump hired. Let's play it.
Congressman, first of all, what do you make of this reflecting pool controversy?
Coincidentally, I went down there today. I wanted to see the beautiful blue water that Donald Trump promised us. You know, he hired his buddy from Mar-a-Lago, this Carafo guy. Turns out he runs a company called Green Water Services. Hired a guy who runs a company called Green Water Services to make the water blue. Turns Turns out he made the water green. It's green, algae, it smells terrible, total debacle. It has the typical corruption we see from this administration. It's honestly like a perfect symbol of both the corruption and the incompetence of the Trump administration. You can see it for yourself in the reflecting pool today.
On the corruption and the Qatari jet, like, does he get to keep this after the presidency? Like, does the Trump family get a new jet from the Qatari?
Not if I or hopefully a Democratic Congress have anything to say about it starting next year. The idea that he took a $400 million unconstitutional gift, charged the taxpayers $1 billion to renovate that gift, and says he's basically taking it home with him when he leaves office is outrageous and unacceptable. So we're going to fight that with everything we can. What we should do is give that gift back to the Qataris or sell it, give the money to the taxpayers.
There you have it, everybody. That's what's going on Capitol Hill. Let me know what you think. MeidasTouch Network's DC Bureau, great work. Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.